What's up, everyone? Today we are annotating one of my favorite books, 1984 by George Orwell, using sticky notes. I'll be annotating the first half of the book, so if you like this video, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see me annotate the second half, and give this video a thumbs up. Also, for the sake of time, I'm going to annotate key moments of the book as opposed to every single page, so feel free to pause this video to read my highlights or notes. I've color-coded my annotations for fun. Pink means symbols, turquoise is theme, light blue is character, white is events, and yellow is literary devices. I like categorizing my notes so I know exactly what I'm analyzing on every single page. So let's jump right into the process of annotating this book. 1984 is a dystopian novel that imagines a futuristic society in which a totalitarian government controls everyone's thoughts, polices everyone's actions, and it's an incredibly relevant novel today. I highly recommend that you read it if you're taking AP Lit or any literary course. So let's see this first annotation. In this passage, we're seeing a symbol of the telescreen, which is an invention that watches everyone in their homes. And the telescreen represents constant surveillance and repression of true thoughts and feelings. It's used by the thought police to detect nonconformity in this society. And I really wanted to note this symbol in my annotations because it's an image that pops up throughout the novel, and Winston, the main character, is really afraid of the telescreen and its power over all citizens. Moving on to our next annotation. On this page, we see that Winston, the main character, is writing repeatedly in his diary, "Down with Big Brother," which is this imagined leader of this authoritarian government. And this image or this event shows insight into Winston's character because Winston is beginning to question the lies, punishments, and traditions of this regime. And he commits a crime simply by writing down the words, "Down with Big Brother," into his own journal. This is also called a thought crime because he's literally rebelling just by expressing his thoughts. Here in this passage, we see that there's a bunch of children who are playing, pretending that Winston is a criminal, and basically just joking around in a scary way. But this event shows a theme, which is that authoritarian regimes indoctrinate the youth to carry on tyrannical traditions and instill fear in adults. A historical example is Hitler Youth, an organization that indoctrinated young boys in Nazi Germany. So that's an image that is really similar to the one that occurs in this book. Here is an important slogan that appears in the book. It's "War is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength." This is an example of a paradox because the slogan equalizes opposing concepts to imply that society is better off when it's oblivious to oppression and subservient to a government that constantly wages war. And this is an example of a literary device. I wrote the name of the device, which is a paradox, at the top of the sticky note just to specify what type of device I'm looking at and what I'm analyzing in this note. Here is another annotation where we see that this fitness instructor is calling out Winston from the telescreen for not bending low enough. This is an important event because this shows that Winston is constantly being watched and that he can never show signs of resentment or disobedience because, again, the telescreen is always on, it's always watching him from afar even when he doesn't realize it. So this event is a really significant moment in which Winston becomes self-aware of his place, of his existence in this authoritarian society. In this next passage, we see an example of newspeak, which is this unique invention that the author talks about. So newspeak is a way of destroying words to make people incapable of uttering rebellious ideas. It censors self-expression and dissidence of any kind because this new form of language is eliminating central words that we often use to express ourselves, so it's limiting creativity. And now that we know exactly what newspeak is, let's move on to something else that really stuck out to me when I was reading this book, and that's imagery, in which Winston describes the poor living conditions that people are forced to put up with in this dystopian future. So Winston uses words including grimy, greasy, pale, filthy, stickiness, and gritty to describe his environment, and he also questions why society puts up with these conditions, to suggest a stark contrast from the comfort that they're used to in the past. So not only is this an example of imagery, but it's also a way for Winston to question or dig deep into his own past. Here is an excerpt of a history textbook for children that Winston copies into his own diary. And what's important about this excerpt from this textbook is that when he copies this page, he realizes that the textbook warps history and facts based on the party's needs, or the central party that controls the government. And facts are basically forfeit because this history textbook is clearly false and exaggerated, but children are being indoctrinated with this information when they're learning in school. Here's a passage in which Winston describes the lottery. So the lottery is this way for the proles, or the proletariat, to possibly win a large sum of money, but usually the sum of money is fake. So the lottery represents the government's deception and the proles' hope or faith. The fact that they haven't lost hope in this lottery means that they could potentially start an uprising, unlike the elites who are completely devoid of emotion. So this is a way of hinting for the future that there's some hope within the proles and they can possibly revolt. These passages that I've highlighted shows an exchange between Winston and an old man, in which Winston asks the older man whether he would prefer to live now or in the past. And this is an example of character because we learn more about this old man who rambles about specific memories to Winston without really talking about freedom or the quality of life of the past. And he misinterprets Winston's question about whether he is better off now than he was in the past, and that's similar to a question that Ronald Reagan asked in his own presidential bid, or his own attempt to run for the presidency. In this passage, Winston is receiving a note from the dark-haired girl who we know as Julia, and she says, "I love you." And this is a turning point because when he receives this note, he thinks that either she has true feelings for him or she's a spy for the party who is trying to test Winston's loyalty. And I feel like this is an event that I could talk about in an essay, or just as a turning point in which Winston is potentially exploring whether he could have a relationship, or potentially whether he is going to be caught for rebellion. This passage offers insight into Julia, the girl's character, because we realize here when she's talking to Winston that she's really a clever, resourceful rebel who pursues her own desires and survives by blending in with the crowd. And she's a risk taker who identifies other misfits like Winston, but she doesn't necessarily want to topple an entire regime. She's more of a lone wolf. She just wants to rebel on her own as opposed to joining a larger movement. And this passage showed that to me as I was reading and realizing more about her character throughout the plot. In this passage, this is really important because the author is talking about how the family unit itself has become an extension of the government. So this is a theme in which the government has turned the family unit into a cog of the party machine. So kids are taught to spy on their own parents, so family members can't even trust one another. This distrust prevents people from organizing and revolting. And this is a common theme throughout history, using the family unit or just any sort of social structure and turning that into a form of surveillance, into a form of control. This is a really important theme that occurs throughout the book. Let's take a look at this passage. This is an example of a symbol of the glass paperweight which Winston bought at a shop. And this paperweight is a symbol of the secret reminder of beauty and the past. It represents the idyllic world that Winston is living in with Julia, who he's in a relationship with, since he now feels a sense of hope. But this glass paperweight is super fragile, suggesting that the dream that he's living in cannot last forever. So that's a form of foreshadowing as well, because this glass paperweight is likely to break. This next moment is an example of a literary device, and that device is actually a flashback because Winston's remembering the time that he stole a piece of chocolate that was rationed out to his family, and the piece of chocolate was in his little sister's hand. So this flashback is important because Winston remembers his greed and his hunger as a child, as well as his mother's selflessness. So the author is juxtaposing these two characters or contrasting them to show that Winston didn't really know how to love or how to show compassion at the time. And Winston is also indirectly questioning whether he now has the ability to love as well. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see me annotate another book, and if so, what book? And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap the bell to receive notifications, and stay tuned for my next video. See you!